This is Mars. No rain has fallen here in 3 billion years. Nothing has ever grown in this soil. Not a root, not a spore, not a single living cell. But someone stood here anyway, looked out across all of this emptiness, and decided to plant strawberries. Mars doesn't just lack water. It lacks everything. The soil here isn't really soil at all. It's crushed rock, mineral dust, a sterile powder that has never once supported life. And it's poison. Scattered throughout this red ground is a chemical called perchlorate. In high enough concentrations, it's toxic to most living things. Before a single strawberry seed touches this ground, the farmer needs to know exactly what they're dealing with. So they test it. A small core sample pulled from 30 centimeters down tells the full story. pH, too low. Nitrogen reading, 0. Organic matter, 0. Perchlorate levels, dangerously high. This isn't a difficult growing environment. This is a hostile one. But the readings also show something useful. The mineral base is rich. Iron, magnesium, potassium, all locked away, but present. The potential is there. It just needs unlocking. And that process starts now. The readings are done. Now the real work begins. The first machine rolls out before dawn. A deep subsoiler. Steel tines nearly a meter long, dragged through the locked Martian regolith at full force. Martian soil has never been broken. It compacts under its own weight over millions of years into something closer to concrete than Earth. The machine doesn't care. It tears through anyway. 60 centimeters down, 80, the hard pan shatters. For the first time in 3 billion years, this ground has been opened. But broken soil isn't safe soil, not here. The next machine moves in, a large tank-mounted spray rig, boom arms extended across the full width of the broken field. It releases a fine biological mist across every centimeter of ripped ground. Inside that mist, billions of perchlorate-reducing bacteria, microorganisms engineered to consume the toxins locked inside Martian regolith and break them down into harmless compounds. It takes hours. The field sits wet and still while the bacteria work. Then the auger arrives. Black biochar pellets and dark organic compost, tons of it, dumped and churned into the red Martian soil by a massive rotating auger machine. Biochar is essentially charcoal, porous, sponge-like. It holds water and nutrients in soil that would otherwise let everything drain away instantly. The compost brings something Mars has never had before: living carbon, the first organic matter this ground has ever contained. The color of the soil begins to change, red fading toward dark brown as the auger works it deeper. But strawberries need more than carbon. They need nitrogen, and Mars has almost none. A precision injector rig moves through the rows, small probes descending into the soil at exact intervals, releasing a concentrated nitrogen-fixing bacterial culture directly into the ground. These bacteria don't just add nitrogen, they convert atmospheric nitrogen into a form strawberry roots can actually absorb. Without them, growth stops before it starts. Next, lime. A broadcast spreader moves slowly across the darkened field, releasing a fine white powder into the dim Martian air. Agricultural lime, calcium carbonate. It raises the soil pH from hostile to workable, from 3.8 up toward the 6.0 that strawberry roots require. The white powder drifts and settles into the dark, amended soil like the first snow this planet has never seen. Now the soil is ready to be shaped. A bed-forming machine runs the full length of the field, pressing and lifting the prepared Earth into perfectly uniform raised rows, 30 centimeters high, stretching to the horizon. Raised rows do two things on Mars. They pull water away from the root zone so roots don't sit in standing moisture, and they warm faster. The dark amended soil absorbing what little heat the distant sun provides. The rows are clean, precise, alive with potential. Then the irrigation lines go in. A small tracked vehicle trails a pipe-laying attachment behind it, unrolling black drip tape directly into the surface of each raised row, one after another in a single slow pass. Every strawberry plant that grows here will receive water delivered directly to its root zone, not a drop wasted. On Mars, there is no margin for waste. The final step is the one you can't see working. Skeleton farmers move through the rows by hand, pressing small electronic sensor stakes into the soil at regular intervals. Each stake monitors moisture, temperature, pH, and nitrogen levels continuously. The field tablet lights up with live data from every row simultaneously. The soil that was dead 2 days ago now has a nervous system. It's watching itself. And if anything threatens the strawberries before they even exist, the system will know first. The field is ready. The soil has been broken, treated, blended, shaped, and wired. Now, something has to go into it. Strawberries on Earth are typically planted as runners, young plants already rooted, pulled from the mother plant and transferred directly into prepared soil. On Mars, there are no mother plants. Not yet. Every runner used in this field was grown in a controlled propagation chamber inside the base, raised under precise light cycles, fed exact nutrient solutions, and hardened slowly to Martian greenhouse conditions before ever touching field soil. They arrive at the field in trays, hundreds of them, small, fragile, pale green. Each one is a stolon cutting, a short section of strawberry runner with a small established root cluster at its base node. The planting process is slow and deliberate. A skeleton farmer kneels at the first row, fingers pressing a shallow planting pocket just beside the drip-taped line. The runner goes in root first. Soil is pressed firmly around the base. The crown, the growing point where leaves will emerge, sits just above the soil's surface. Not buried, not exposed, exactly at the line. If the crown sits too deep, it rots. If it sits too high, it dries out. The margin for error is measured in millimeters. Row by row, tray by tray, the runners go in. Some rows are planted by hand. Others are handled by a small automated planting machine. A narrow tracked vehicle with a rear-mounted planting wheel that opens a precise slot in the row crown, drops a runner at exact spacing, and closes the soil behind it in a single continuous motion. The machine doesn't rest. Neither do the farmers. When the last runner of the first section is seated, a skeleton farmer walks to the irrigation control panel mounted on a post at the field edge. A single switch is pressed. Somewhere beneath the dark blended soil, the drip tape emitters open. Water moves for the first time through this field. Not flooding, not spraying, just a quiet, precise release, one droplet at a time, directly at the base of every newly planted strawberry runner in every row, simultaneously. The soil darkens slightly around each plant as the moisture reaches it. The runners don't react. Not yet. But the conditions for life have been met. Everything that follows now depends on what happens in the next 7 days underground, where no camera can follow and no machine can intervene. The roots either take hold or they don't. Day 7. Nothing visible above the soil yet, but the sensor network tells a different story. moisture levels holding steady in every row, soil temperature rising fractionally each morning as the dark, amended Earth absorbs the dim Martian sun. Nitrogen levels beginning to shift, the bacteria are working. And then, on day 8, the first reading changes. Root resistance detected in row 4. The roots have taken hold. By day 10, it's happening across the field. Not visible yet, not even close, but underground, something has decided to live. Day 14. The first sprouts break the surface. Tiny, pale, almost translucent in the dim Martian light. A single folded pair of pale green leaves pushing up through the dark blended soil. The very first sign that this field is no longer just prepared earth. It's a farm. The growth scanner moves over the rows for the first time, its multispectral cameras sweeping slowly across the emerging sprouts, building a health map of every plant in every row. Everything reads green. By day 18, the sprouts have straightened. The first true trifoliate strawberry leaves are forming, 3 small, dark green leaflets with slightly serrated edges, arranged around a central stem. They are unmistakably strawberry leaves. The micronutrient applicator begins its first pass, a small wheeled robot moving carefully between the rows, reading individual plant stress signals from the growth scanner data and applying targeted liquid fertilizer doses to any plant showing the earliest signs of deficiency. Most plants need nothing yet. A few do. Those few get exactly what they need, no more. Day 23. The runners begin. Stolons, thin horizontal stems, extend outward from the base of each plant along the soil surface, probing outward in every direction. Here, the runners are not rooting into new positions. The spacing is controlled. The runners are managed, trimmed where they conflict, guided where they assist ground coverage. But their growth signals something important. The plants are not just surviving. They are behaving like strawberry plants. The dense, low mat of trifoliate leaves begins to fill the space between plants in every row, dark green, spreading, vigorous. Day 31. The first flower buds appear. Small, white, 5 petals around a yellow center. They are exactly as a strawberry flower should be, and they are growing on Mars. The pollination drone launches for the first time, a small hovering unit moving at low altitude through the flower rows, vibrating at the precise frequency to release pollen from each bloom. On Earth, bees do this without being asked. On Mars, a machine does it instead. Row by row, flower by flower. The drone works through the night if necessary. It does not miss a single bloom. Day 34. The fruit nodes are setting. At the base of every pollinated flower, the tiny, pale green pointed nodes have appeared, small, hard, the very beginning of what will become a strawberry. They are perhaps the size of a pea. They are also the most vulnerable thing in this entire field. The sensor network picks it up first. A pressure drop. Atmospheric readings shifting outside the climate canopy system. A dust storm is coming. On Mars, dust storms are not like Earth storms. They don't bring rain, they don't bring wind strong enough to flatten crops. What they bring is darkness. Fine iron oxide particles fill the atmosphere for days, sometimes weeks, blocking the already dim Martian sunlight until almost nothing reaches the surface. For a strawberry plant in the middle of fruit set, that darkness can stop photosynthesis entirely. Without photosynthesis, the fruit nodes starve. The climate canopy system activates. Semi-transparent tunnel panels extend over the rows, locking into their sealed positions and closing each row section under a protective shell that filters incoming dust while maintaining internal light levels using supplemental LED strips mounted along the canopy interior. The skeleton farmers move fast. Panel joints sealed. Humidity levels checked. CO2 injectors confirmed active. Inside the canopy, the strawberry plants continue as if nothing has changed. outside, the dust wall arrives. The sky turns from dusty pink to deep iron red. Visibility drops to near zero beyond the field boundary. Fine red dust coats every external surface. The canopy holds. Inside, the plants are warm, lit, fed with CO2, and completely unaware that the world outside has turned hostile. The storm lasts 4 days. On day 2 of the storm, a sensor stake in row 9 flags an anomaly. Not atmospheric, not chemical, physical. Something is moving beneath the soil in row 9. The signal is unlike anything in the system's calibration database. The skeleton farmer enters the canopy and kneels beside row 9. They press one gloved hand flat against the dark, amended soil. They feel it. A slow, rhythmic vibration coming from below. Something is alive down there, and it is large. By day 3 of the storm, 3 more rows have flagged the same signal. The farmer pulls a soil probe, a long steel rod, and drives it into the soil at the flagged position. Resistance. Then, movement. The probe shifts sideways under pressure. Something below pushed it. The farmer does not pull the probe out immediately. They simply look at where it entered the soil. Then they look up at the canopy above them, at the fruit nodes swelling on the plants, at the dust-darkened sky beyond the panels, and then back down. The probe is still moving. Day 38. The storm has passed. The canopy panels unseal one by one. Cold Martian air rushes back in across the rows. The farmers move through the field, checking each section methodically. Joints, drip lines, sensor stakes, fruit nodes. The strawberry plants are intact. The fruit nodes have grown. 4 days of protected darkness and the swelling has continued. Pale green pointed nodes, slightly rounder now, slightly heavier on their stems. The climate canopy did its job. The sensor stake in row 9 has gone quiet. The vibration, 3 days of slow, rhythmic pressure from below, simply stopped sometime before dawn. The red dot on the field tablet sat still for 2 hours, then disappeared from the grid entirely. The farmers log it as a geological event, Martian subsurface settling, pressure release from the amended soil compacting over the weeks. They move on. Day 41. A skeleton farmer walking row 6 notices something small. A strawberry node, one of the larger ones, nearly the size of a golf ball now, still pale green but already beginning to blush faintly at its tip, is sitting at an odd angle on its stem. The farmer crouches down. The node has a mark on it, a clean, curved indentation along one side. Not a split from growth pressure, not a bruise from canopy contact, a bite mark. The farmer looks at it for a long moment, then looks up and down the row. Nothing else unusual. They photograph it on the field tablet, log it as unknown mechanical damage, and move on. Day 43. Row 11 again. 3 nodes missing entirely, stems snapped cleanly at the base. The drip tape beneath them is undisturbed. No footprints in the dark soil, no tracks, nothing on the canopy interior that would suggest entry from above. The growth scanner gantry passes overhead on its evening run. Its multispectral cameras flag the missing nodes. The system categorizes them as natural fruit drop, a known occurrence when early nodes fail to develop properly. The farmer reviews the log at the end of the day. They accept the categorization. They move on. Day 45. Row 9 again. This time it is not the sensor stake that draws attention. It is the smell. A faint sweetness, the sharp, clean scent of strawberry flesh drifting up from the soil near the base of the row. A farmer crouches, presses a gloved hand into the soil around the base of the nearest plant cluster. The soil is soft, recently disturbed, but only slightly. They look at the plants. Several of the lower hanging nodes, the ones closest to the soil surface, are gone. Not fallen, not decayed, gone cleanly, as if lifted away from below. The farmer photographs the area, logs it. At dinner, the skeleton farmers gather around the field tablet. They scroll through the week's anomaly log. 3 separate rows, missing nodes, bite marks on 2 more, soil disturbance in row 9. They look at each other. They don't say it yet, but they all know something is feeding in this field. They just have no idea what, or where it is right now, or how long it has been here. Day 47. The farmers set the trap at midnight. Not a poison trap, not a kill trap. A vibration lure. The same low-frequency pulse technology from the sensor network, reconfigured to mimic the rhythm of something alive and moving underground. They buried it at the center of row 9, just below the soil surface, and they waited. By 3 in the morning, the first sensor stake in row 9 flickered, then the second, then the third. Something was moving toward the lure. The soil in the center of row 9 began to rise. Slowly at first, a gentle dome of dark amended earth pushing upward from below. Then faster, the dome cracked, split open, and there it was, a giant weevil. The body alone filled the width of the row. Dark brown, hard shell, its segmented exoskeleton caked in layers of Martian soil from weeks of tunneling beneath the field. Its rostrum, the long, curved snout, emerged from the soil surface like a drill. Then the legs, 6 of them, each ending in curved hooks that gripped the soil edge as it pulled itself free. It was not alone. A second weevil broke the surface in row 6, then a third in row 11. 3 weevils, 3 rows, 3 weeks of damage finally explained. The farmers did not panic. They were already in position. The containment cages, heavy steel frames on wheeled bases, were already placed at the end of each row. The vibration lures shifted frequency, guiding each weevil slowly, instinctively toward the open cage entrance. The weevils followed the signal. One by one, the cage doors dropped shut. The farmers sealed each latch by hand, checked the frame joints, checked again. Then they loaded the cages onto the farm truck, a heavy flatbed tracked vehicle, 1 cage at a time, using the loader arm. Each weevil visible through the steel bars, dark, still, watching. The truck moved out through the field boundary, across the red Martian terrain, far out into the open desert, 3 kilometers from the field edge, where the soil was raw and untouched, and there was nothing to eat. The cage doors were opened remotely. The weevils disappeared into the Martian ground within seconds. Gone. The farmers drove back in silence. Row 9, row 6, row 11. 3 rows to replant. They picked up their tools and started. Day 62. The field is ready. 90 days of Martian soil. Amended, tested, rebuilt from nothing. And now, this. Row after row of deep red strawberries stretching the full length of the canopy. Some the size of a fist, some the size of a human head. A few, the ones in rows 9, 6, and 11, where the soil had been tunneled and turned by weeks of weevil movement, the size of a basketball, or larger. Nobody planned for that. The harvest assist arms move first. Slow, precise. A robotic arm mounted on a tracked vehicle rolls gently between the rows. Its camera eye scans each plant, identifies the right fruit, calculates the grip angle. The arm extends. The padded gripper closes around the body of a deep red strawberry just below the calyx and detaches it from the stem with a single clean motion. No bruising, no tearing. The fruit drops into the collection tray. Then the skeleton farmers move in, gloved hands moving row by row, pinching each stem just above the calyx, the fruit coming away clean, warm, heavy, the skin glossy and tight, some so large both hands are needed to lift them. One splits slightly at the seam as it is placed into the tray, pale white-pink flesh inside, fading to vivid red at the core. Tiny yellow acenes across the surface catching the light. One row, then two, then all of them. By the time the dim Martian sun reaches its highest point in the pale pink sky, the first yield numbers appear on the field tablet. The skeleton farmer holding the tablet does not move for a long moment. Then they look up, across the rows, across everything that was just dust 90 days ago, and they go back to harvesting.